10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good morning, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, and hello wherever you are. From New York, this is Saturday, January 30th. This is the New York Connection, and I am Harold Pysadee. Well, we continue to talk independence this morning, but with a little snag, though. Yes, I was scheduled to speak to Kizzy Belfon about the pageant that's coming off today, but Kizzy came in pretty late this morning. Got a text from her like 4 o'clock this morning saying that she's pretty tired and wouldn't be able to get up in time. Well, understandably so. You know, with the snow last week and everything slowed up in New York, and I know that they've been helter-skelter all over the place trying to get things organized for the pageant this evening. So, Kizzy, you are excused. No problem. Anyway, to tell you that the pageant is coming off this afternoon. That's the Pageant and Youth Fest this afternoon at 4 o'clock at the Mahalia Jackson High School. Some beautiful ladies will be there this afternoon, and some young men too with their entertainment. At the Mahalia Jackson High School at 790 East New York. That's between Troy and Schenectady. So the Miss Grenada Independence Pageant and Youth Fest is coming off this afternoon. And the weather is going to be great, okay? Just nice winter weather, if you want to call it that. Well, it's winter. So remember, it's only $20 to get into the Miss Grenada Independence Pageant and Youth Fest. This afternoon, 4 o'clock, at the Mahalia Jackson High School, 790 East New York Avenue. And that's between Troy and Schenectady. Understand that GBN is carrying it live on TV later on today, so you can check out GBN TV for that. I'll be looking. Then tomorrow, it's the Ecumenical Church Service. Always happens, yes, and it's a full gospel assembly. And that church service is coming off at the 131 Sullivan Place. And that's between Bedford and Rogers. Now, the church service begins at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So remember, the Independence Ecumenical Service is tomorrow, Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock. It's a full gospel assembly, non-denominational. Everyone is invited. 131 Sullivan Place between Bedford and Rogers. Tomorrow, Sunday. Then come next week, Saturday, the big night, the gala night, the night of dinner, dancing, and the night of elegance. And that's coming off at the Grand Prospect Hall, 263 Prospect Avenue, between 5th and 6th Avenues. The affair begins at 9 o'clock in the evening. It's $120 to get in. $120 to get in. So remember, that's the big gala, the dinner night of elegance, where you put on your best dandan and feel good about yourself. Yes, next is Saturday at the Grand Prospect Hall, 263 Prospect Avenue. That's between 5th and 6th Avenues. $120 to get in. And remember that Thursday, the February 11th, it's their Seniors Tea Party. That's at the Bethany United Methodist Church at 1208 St. John's Place. That's between Troy and Albany Avenues. That's the Seniors Tea Party, all right, where the seniors of our nation will be garlanded, heralded, and celebrated in fine style. And that's something that you can't afford to miss, okay? So that's the Senior Tea Party coming off on the 11th. That's the 11th of February, and that's Thursday, 11th February. That's at the Bethany United Methodist Church, 1208 St. John's Place. That's between Troy and Albany Avenues. So you check that out. And if you want tickets for the gala, that's the big dinner night of elegance on Saturday, February the 6th, you can call 917-972-9673. That's 917-972-9673. That's where you call to get your tickets. Tickets are still available, I understand, for the big gala. and get your tickets, okay? $120. We're gonna have fun. Grenada's 42nd anniversary of independence celebrations in good old New York is underway. Well, in light of a no kizzy this morning, had to rearrange some of the action on the connection this morning. Yeah, we'll be talking some calypso. We'll be giving you the latest roundup of West Indies cricket. Yeah, you heard that Andre Fletcher, Grenadian Andre Fletcher, is in the T20 team to tour India for the World Cup T20 tournament. And the Grenadian president of the Cricket Association and no manager of the West Indies under-19 team, Dwayne Gill, has been shortlisted as one of the favourites to be declared manager of the West Indies T20 team for the World Cup, together with Lockhart Sebastian and Ricky Skerritt, even though they say that Sebastian seems to be the favourite. Well, I'll tell you a little bit more about that later on. Well, you know that one of the biggest rivalries in the calypso art form has been between two greats of calypso, the Mighty Sparrow and the Lord Kitchener. Yeah, they have given jabs in song against one another for over 30 years. Now, we're going to talk a bit about that. But let's listen in song to one of the jabs that Sparrow gave Kitchener.
This is a story I read in the paper not too long ago. A certain Calypsonian had the nerve to attack the Mighty Sparrow. Sparrow, your days are numbered, he said, and you're going down. And I come back from England. I come back from England. I'm gonna take your crown. Tell me what is wrong with some of them old-time Calypsonian. I can't understand some of them old-time Calypsonian. It's a different era now. They come back here making round. They regret they begged me for war. I go beat them like a child 1964. Hey, look here. Clear the road, let me pass, Mr. Kitchener. You're stepping out of your class, Kitchy boy, you've gone too far. Old timer, you're gone. I say your day's done. Clear the road, let me pass, Mr. Kitchener. Why the sudden craze? Why all of them running back nowadays? It is plain to see they hear Calypso have plenty money, but Calypso could have been dead if I didn't use my head. Now it's on a higher level. Go tell Kitchener who's responsible. Look here. Ready, roll them in pass, Mr. Kitchener. You're stepping out of your class, Kitchy boy, you're gone too far. Old timer, you're gone. I say your day's done. Ready, roll them in pass, Mr. Kitchener. As Calypso King is Trinidad and Tobago you're representing, but not with two stupid songs on Carnival Sunday night and you're done. Calypsonians should never stop. Oh yeah, we got to keep it up. Not up in London sitting down, and every year running back for Calypso Crown. Never have. Ready, roll them in pass, Mr. Kitchener. You're stepping out of your class, Kitchy boy, you're gone too far. Old timer, you're gone. I say your day's done. Ready, roll them in pass, Mr. Kitchener. Calypso is me, and I am Calypso in this country. It is I that carry the load every year with a set of tunes on the road. Kitchy Egyptian God a thing. To laws he come like men. Told once upon a time he was a good horse. But now that all, I am the Calypso king of the world. Hear me? Let the road, let me pass. Mr. Kitchener. Stepping out of your class, kitty boy, you're gone a little too far. Old timer, you're gone. I say your days done. Let me hear you. Let the road, let me pass. Mr. Kitchener.
Well, of course, you know, Kitchener in a true wit, he also jabbed back at Sparrow over the years. And at one year, he accused Sparrow of thieving. Yeah, he accused Sparrow of coming in his yard, climbing his mango tree and thieving some mangoes. You understand? Because you see, both of them lived close to each other for donkey years too, huh? Oh yeah.
This is Caribbean Vibes.
Sparrow, why you thief me mango? I would like to know. Man, you come in quite indigo, distress me so. Well, I catch him red-handed, I take him unexpected. Like a kiskidi, he man sprawl on me mango tree. But I tell him, look, I catch you on me mango long ball. Coming down, coming, kitchen around. I wonder who tell this bold-faced Noarian to come on me ball, yeah. Coming down, kitchen around. Don't call me a thief, don't call me a thief. Kitchi is the flag woman, invite me to climb. Anyway, I'm coming, I won't be long. Kitchi boy, don't fret, Sparrow coming down. This time if you see Sparrow like a greedy goat, the man push the whole mango down inside the throat, with the bottom lip lapping and the mango juice dripping. If I didn't plead, the man would have sucked on the mango tree. But the holler, I can catch you on the mango long ball. Coming down, kitchen around. I wonder who tell this bold-faced Noarian to come on the bomb, yes. Coming down, kitchen around. Don't call me a thief, don't call me a thief. Kitchi is the flag woman, invite me to climb. Anyway, I'm coming, I won't be long. Kitchi boy, don't fret, Sparrow coming down. Sparrow turn and tell me, Kitchi, I gon' talk the truth. It's the flag woman who tell me I could suck the fruit. She say what is 2 mangoes to offer a friend she knows it belong to she, and she gon' give who she want to give. But I tell him, I catch you on the mango long ball. Coming down, kitchen around. I say make haste, you bold-faced Noarian, stop coming and come, yes. Coming down, kitchen around. Don't call me a thief, don't call me a thief. Kitchi is the flag woman, invite me to climb. Anyway, I'm coming, I won't be long. Kitchi boy, don't fret, Sparrow coming down.
This is Caribbean Vibes.
I said, Sparrow, from what I was made to understand, you was then a brute. It is you who forced the flag woman to give you the fruit. Well, you started to threaten, and you get the girl frightened. She had to agree for you to climb up the mango tree. But I tell him, I catch you on the mango long ball. Coming down, kitchen around. I said, don't make haste, you bold-faced Noarian, stop coming and come. Coming down, kitchen around. Don't call me a thief, don't call me a thief. Kitchi is the flag woman, invite me to climb. Anyway, I'm coming, I won't be long. Kitchi boy, don't fret,
that's how it went for a number of years between those two, you know. He jab at one and then the other jab at the other. Sparrow and Kitchener. Well, yeah, one of the most compelling aspects of the art form, I told you, was the rivalry between those two goodly gentlemen. Well, the gentlemen have been in the forefront of the art form as adversaries for well over 3 decades. Calypso fans have taken sides and almost come to blows for supporting Sparrow or Kitchener. But as things as things continued to develop between each other, they kept each other in top form because of the ingenuity of both of them, because they had mutual respect for each other, because of each other's artistry. But how did this rivalry really start? Well, in the late 50s and early 60s, Sparrow and Lord Melody were already a team of just falling short of cussing one another in pelting jabs at each other in song. They had the admiration of New York's megastar Harry Belafonte, who began singing their songs. Well, Sparrow and Melody visited Harry Belafonte in Harlem, New York in the 60s, looking for some remuneration for the usage of their work. Well, Belafonte took a more liking to Melody and asked Melody to stay in New York for a while. That left the Mighty Sparrow without a sparring partner, so to speak. Well, it was then that Sparrow thought that, well, there is Kitchener who is residing in England and sending all these hits to Trinidad for Carnival. I must go to England and bring him back to Trinidad. Well, let me not tell you. Let's join Sparrow now as he picks up the story in an interview that he did in New York just recently. And for some reason, the issue of Grenada also comes in.
So it so happened that I got the opportunity to go to London, and then it dawned on me, wait a minute, you're going to London and you have a partner in England, you have a fella in England who you like very much as a Calypsonian, and that was Lord Kitchener. Yeah. And I went up to England, and first thing I did was to try and go to the company that Lord Kitchener used to record for Melodisc. And I met a guy named Emile Chalet, who was the boss of Melodisc, and find out about where Kitchener is. And he guided me that Kitchener was in Manchester, and he was playing in a band. He was a bassman. Okay. And I went up to Manchester and meet Lord Kitchener and introduce myself and blah, blah, blah. And everything was going good, you know.
Right.
And I wanted to tell him, Kitchener, how nice it would be to come back to Trinidad because the people love him and all of us miss him and blah, blah, blah. So long you're up here since 1946 and you never come back. I mean, yes, and he went up there in 1946 and I started my career officially in 1954, 55, you know, and I win the crown in 1956. So, you know, Kitchener was never on the scene. Yeah. And then now when Kitch got to know who he talking to, he said, you the little champion that they're talking about? I say, yes, Kitch. He said, but you look like all of that to me. I say, well, Kitch, I mean, with all respect and things, looks is deceiving, you know. So if you come in the ring, you don't be surprised if you get too hard cup. Oh, Lord. So me and he, we make a kind of friendship from there on, and we started going up and down. And somebody else had sent a ticket for him to come down from London to Trinidad. Yes. Other than the one that Sylvester Taylor and myself had sent for him to come. And he decided to come down anyway. I can't remember which one he used, but he came down to Trinidad. And this time now, I dressed up and I went up to the airport when I know he was coming in, and everybody waiting to meet Lord Kitchener. But now I feeling special because I say Lord Kitchener is my partner. We went up in the airport, the plane landed, and everything. Kitchener come out and we hug up and thing and shake hand and blah, blah, blah. The next thing is, Kitchener, I want to sing with me. So we asking, what is the problem? Next thing, you need to cut a long story short because this thing could go on and on. Kitchener say, he want to sing on the same stage with that Grenadian. I said, but wait a minute. I was born in 1935. I come to Trinidad in 1937 because my family got a work on a military base in that area down there. And that was it. What are you telling me about that Grenadian? I said, all right, I can't help it. I born in Grenada. Yes. If that is how you judge it, and you should, I born in Grenada. But you know what I noticed with some people? I'm born in Grenada, and they're making a big issue of that as if I did something wrong. And when I now make all the efforts and became a Trinidadian citizen, nobody want to give me no kind of credit. As if, well, that no big deal.
Well,
and any other citizenship that I get in any other part of the world, that doesn't matter. But it's the Grenada part. I say, but what it is. But they had something against Grenada. I don't know what it is. All you could tell me?
Talent.
No, well, you know, because I remember they used to have a song long ago. Small island, go back where you come from. Small island, go back where you come from. You come Trinidad in a sailing boat, and now you want to wear saga coat. I say, small island, go back where you come from. I say, well, wait a minute.
Who sang that?
Nobody don't sing that when they come to America. Suppose America will sing the same thing. Trinidadian, go back where you come from. How that will go down? You see, it's a bunch of jackass that used to carry on with the foolishness.
True.
Until one day, a fella bring that foolishness to me a little bit once too often. And you know me already, every once in a while I lose my temper and carry on like a fool. But anyway, them days done, and the good Lord has given me a second life, and I am so thankful.
Okay, so that's how that went. And speaking about the Lord Kitchener and then diverted straight to Grenada, Small Island, what have you. The thing about it is that the Mighty Sparrow and the Lord Kitchener, as we learned later on, as I have learned later on, were very, very close. They had a very close friendship. Yes, and Sparrow actually cried like a child in Kitchener's funeral. Two great men of Calypso, the Mighty Sparrow and the Lord Kitchener. Well, what's happening in West Indies cricket? Grenada is taking center stage, because Andre Fletcher is included in the world-ranked number 1 West Indies squad for the upcoming T20 in Sri Lanka. Also included is off-spinner Sunil Narine pending test results on an alleged illegal bowling action. Banned by the International Cricket Council and the West Indies Cricket Board after he failed his last test on his bowling action, Narine has been doing rehabilitative work and is expected to fly off next weekend to Loughborough University in England to do another test on his bowling action. Well, if he passes this test, he will take his place in the West Indies squad that will compete in the ICC World T20 in India in March and April. The team, which has been described as a dangerous one, is packed with T20 stars and will be led again by Darren Sammy. Also on the team is West Indies Test and ODI captain Jason Holder. While making a return to the squad is the TNT Red Steel spin bowler Suleiman Ben from Barbados, of course, who missed the tour to Sri Lanka. Well, there is no place for Dwayne Smith, obviously, or fast bowler Ravi Rampal, who is getting bigger every day, both of whom were in the team that won the world title in 2012 in Sri Lanka. Well, the full team is Darren Sammy, captain, Lyndall Simmons, Andre Fletcher, Darren Bravo, Dwayne Bravo, Kyron Pollard, who is injured though, Marlon Samuels, Dennis Ramden, Samuel Badri, Suleiman Ben, Sunil Narain, Andre Fletcher, Jason Holder, Jerome Taylor, Carlos Braffett, Chris Gale, and Andre Russell. Well, what's happening in the Under-19 World Cup? Well, the West Indies Under-19 team went under to England in their first game of the Under-19 World Cup in Bangladesh. England Under-19 winning by 61 runs. Batting first, England Under-19 scored 287 for 7 off their 50 overs, with Callum Taylor getting 59 and Dan Lawrence 55. For the Windies Under-19, occasional bowler Gidron Pope picked up 2 for 45 with an economy rate of 5 and over. Well, Pope, batting in his picked position as an opener, he made 60, while Kemo Paul got 65, but not enough, as the West Indies Under-19 were bowled out for 221 in 43.4 overs. Well, they had no answer for the medium pacer Saqib Mahmood, who bagged 4 for 42. Well, they play Fiji tonight local time, 10 o'clock New York time, that is. That's the West Indies Under-19 play Fiji in the second game of the Under-19 World Cup. Well, West Indies batsman Shivnarine Chanderpaul has announced his retirement from international cricket. The 41-year-old Guyanese left-hander made his Test debut in 1994, but was dropped after West Indies' home series against England in May of 2015. With 11,867 runs from 164 tests, he retires as the West Indies' second highest run scorer, only 45 short of Brian Lara's record of 11,912. He is also the 7th highest Test run scorer of all time. Well, Chanderpaul also played in 268 one-day internationals, where he scored another 8,778 runs, including 5 World Cups as well as 22 2020 internationals. He was the International Cricket Council's top-ranked Test batsman for several spells, and also appeared in English county cricket for Durham, Lancashire, Warwickshire and Derbyshire. Well, former West Indies fast bowler and now cricket analyst Michael Holding has applauded Shivnarine Chanderpaul's mental toughness and ability to adapt to various situations. Let's listen to Mikey in this ESPN Cricinfo interview.
Hello, my name's George Devol from ESPN Cricinfo, and I'm joined by Michael Holding to discuss the retirement of Shivnarine Chanderpaul. Mikey, obviously a tremendous career. How do you reflect on it, and what do you think the memories will be of it?
Well, the memories of Shivnarine Chanderpaul for the West Indies will be someone who gave everything throughout his entire career for a very, very long time. Chanderpaul is the type of player that always did whatever was necessary for him to try and get some runs. You know, you look at his stance over the period of time, how it changed from being an orthodox stance to something that was completely unorthodox. People thought that would certainly never work at the highest level. He made it work for him, and that is Shivnarine Chanderpaul. He just did whatever was necessary.
What sort of character has the strength of mind to change their technique when presumably every coach, every textbook would say the opposite?
Well, that was just Shiv. Shiv came into Test cricket at a pretty tender age. He was not very strong physically. Mentally, he has always been very strong. Physically, he wasn't very strong. He used to get cramps a lot. He was struggling a lot of times when he was actually batting out there on the field. And he did, again, what was necessary for him. He changed his diet, he changed his work ethic, and he became a lot stronger physically. And so he could then go on and make tons of centuries. If you remember, it took him a very long time to get his first century. He got lots of 50s, lots of 60s, because he wasn't physically capable of batting that long to get the centuries. Then, as I said, he changed everything, got the hundreds. His mind has always been strong. He has always been determined. Whenever he has had to do something to make himself better, he has done it. And it did not mean that if somebody told him, Shiv, that won't work for you, that he'll say, no, I agree it won't work. He'll make sure that it works, because he was that type of person. He even captained the West Indies team once, because people thought with such a strong mind, with someone such a strong mind, that then he would be a good leader. It didn't turn out that way, because Shiv was strong for himself. Shiv was not an outgoing person, so it didn't quite work for him as captain. But he himself, he knew what he wanted to do, he knew exactly what he needed to do, and as we can see, that made him have such a very long career.
he might be remembered as a bit of a dogged batsman, but actually he was, and he sure could be. But actually, he had a lot of other gears as well, and we saw them sometimes, didn't we?
I remember one day international, for instance, in Trinidad, when Shiv hit about 3 or 4 sixes in the last over to win the game, when everybody thought this is over, the West Indies cannot win this game. I don't even remember who it was against, but I just remember him playing the shots that were necessary. Shiv could do whatever he needed to do, and that's the type of person that he was.
Shivnarine Chanderpaul, certainly a great of West Indies cricket. Well, Grenadian Dwayne